Hello, welcome to the Nick Luck Daily podcast and the first in a brand new series, Nick Luck Daily USA. During the next 12 months, I'll be talking to those who lead and also to those who aspire to lead as the American horse racing industry engages in the most critical battle of ideas in its long and illustrious history. Who is best placed to steer this ship through the choppy waters? Who has the vision? Who has the skill, the integrity, the wherewithal to keep horse racing relevant or even to make us care? So my first guest, and I've chosen a good one, is by his own admission, a disruptor. A self-made billionaire, he grew up in Queens. He's been a racing fan since his teens. And as his business career developed, so did his ownership portfolio. Champion juvenile Uncle Mo was the first superstar, infamously scratched from the Derby the day before the race, a fate that was spookily to befall this same owner last year. His hot favourite Forte controversially fell foul of veterinary checks at the 11th hour. There have, however, been so many highs, courtesy of Breeders' Cup Classic winner Vino Rosso, Belmont 1-2 Mo Donegal and Nest in his own backyard, and he now has champion juvenile elect Fierceness as he bids to lay that Kentucky Derby ghost. But Mike Repole is not happy with the horse racing industry. There isn't anything in this sport that is good at the moment. He told me on NBC last fall, "I blame myself. In any other sport, the owners take control. Here, we let the racetracks do it for us." And so to that end, he has created and become the self-appointed champion of the horsemen, creating the National Thoroughbred Alliance with him as the chair and respected industry figure and punters advocate Pat Cummings at his side. How do we save horse racing, says Repole? This is it. Mike Repole, welcome to Nick Luck Daily USA. How are you doing so far in your bid to save this great sport?
Hey, Nick, I appreciate the intro. When you got to Uncle Mo and Forte scratching, that one hurt a little bit, but the rest was pretty good. Nick, I'm really, I've been a little down the last 18 months on the sport, and I'm rejuvenated. Like I really have become rejuvenated over the last 60 days. I'm actually engaging in Twitter, which is fun. And I'm having a good time with that, but I'm really trying to do my own little focus group. And I'm doing it in a couple different ways, Nick. I'm talking with people very high level in the industry, whether it's a entity or it's a track or it's a organization in racing or a stallion farm or someone that runs a sales company. And I'm also talking to fans. And the way I'm talking to fans is through Twitter. And, as many people might know my personality, I'm a little sarcastic. I don't mind. I'm a disruptor. People either love it or hate it. Probably no in between, or sometimes they love it and hate it at the same time, but that's okay too. But I'm really getting a good feel about the pulse of what's going on. And I guess where I'm rejuvenated is people love this fucking sport. People are fucking passionate about the sport. People want this sport to be here. People want this sport to succeed. People love horses. People love gambling. People love going to the races. And honestly, the discouraging part is we're doing everything we can to screw this up. And people just keep coming back, and it just shows you how strong the core and the roots of this is. I mean, I hear gamblers say, "I'm never betting again." And then you see them bet the early double mark, like "I'm never going to buy another horse." And they buy 5 at the sale. Like trainers, "I can't wait to retire." And then they're going to do it for 5 more years. Like, it's just amazing the passion that people have. And, how do you just make it better?
All right, so we're going to come to that. But you said yourself there, people go straight back in. They lose a bet, they go straight back in. They complain about the industry, and they keep getting stuck in. You are the archetype here. You are the archetype. You're the man who told me there was nothing good about racing. And then I said to you, but you spent $14 million at Keeneland only a week before. So what I need to find out from you is, how did horse racing, when you were 11, 12, 13 years old, growing up, how and why did horse racing grab you?
I got into it as a 13-year-old fan, and just a combination of just watching these magnificent animals run 40 miles an hour down the stretch and and then, you know, the trainers and the jockeys and the strategy. And it was just, and it just was like, you know, it's like a, you know, I mean, think about how we used to watch TV years ago, where people would watch 2-hour movies and series, and now they binge and they go on YouTube or they go on TikTok, and like TikTok is like that 2-minute little video that captures your attention. And horse racing, it's like all these, every race is, it's a little TikTok, like it's a minute 30, it's a minute 10, it's a two minutes, but you have this vision for how it's going to play out, and it's this beautiful short film. You know, you didn't know the horse was going to break at this, get out of the gate. You didn't know that, you know, you thought there was 3 speeds in the race and only one showed up and he went wire to wire. So it's this unbelievable little TikTok that you're watching, which is, you know, which is less than 2 minutes, that you're just like, you have a prediction for it. It's like watching an NFL game or a soccer game. Instead of 2 hours and 3.5 hours, you get it in 2 minutes. And the build up to that is so exciting. So horse racing today, for the way sports are marketed, can be the biggest sport out there. People like, you know, short, quick, make a decision. Tell me if I'm a winner or loser in 2 minutes, and let me go on to the next one. You know, but like in the United States, like, let's see, when we have 6 tracks running, 5 of them race at 1 o'clock, then they all go off at like 1:30, like stagger them, 1 o'clock, 1:05, 1:10, 1:15. Common sense here, guys. So listen, it's a short film. It's a TikTok, and it draws our attention. And the great news is you can miss the first 8 TikToks and just watch the 9th race, and you could just jump in and leave. You don't have to watch, you know, every series, every moment. There's no, oh, I missed that one. Like, you could not watch racing for 2 weeks and go to the track, and it's a new day, and you don't have to be caught up on anything. So the brilliance of how it could play out and how huge it can be if you had a vision and some leadership, like, you don't have to watch season 1, 2, or 3. You could pick it up in season 4 and be fine with it.
You're an entrepreneur. You've been a disruptor in business, and it has got you an awful long way. You have created brands that people would never have thought would have been particularly successful, and you've sold them for billions of dollars to multinational companies. So you clearly have vision in business. When you watch people lead in horse racing, what, in your view, from your experience, are their key deficiencies? What are they doing wrong?
Yeah, I would say that there's 3 things. The first one is vision. Someone has to have a long-term vision for the sport. How's this sport going to look 2 years from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now? Long-term vision in horse racing is next month. That's it. Like next month, next start, next sale, next race, next season. That's it. Leadership. There isn't any. If I asked you, who is the leader of this team, you would give me the head coach. If you said, who is the leader of that company, you would give me the CEO. If I said, who is the leader of the NFL, you would give me Roger Goodell. Who is the leader of horse racing?
There's a lot of chiefs.
You couldn't even come up with one name. Like there is no leader. There is no leader. Nobody knows the head of this person or the head of that person. Nobody knows that. No, there isn't one leader. There's no leadership. If you did a survey, name the leader of horse racing, it's not that you would get many answers, because actually many answers is pretty good. You'd get no answers. That's the scariest part. There are no answers. There isn't one leader in the sport.
But here's the thing, Mike. As you know, with the creation of HISA, Horse Racing Integrity and Safety Act, and the authority that followed from that, it was hard enough to get the key states, the key jurisdictions, on the same page from a regulatory point of view. I mean, how on earth could you conceive of getting them on the same page from a governance and administrative point of view? That's almost beyond thinking, as far as I can see.
Nick, you know how much I like you and how much I 80% of the time I think we agree. It's so wrong, that opinion, because it's the infrastructure we've had for 40 years that has caused us not to be able to get states aligned, not be able, I mean, that the federal government has to come in and police our sport. is an incompetence to the vision and leadership of the last 30, 40 years. It only happened because we've never put it together. My concern now.
Oh, I don't. Oh, don't mistake me. I don't disagree with your premise. I'm just trying to work out how you, as someone who aspires to lead, is going to execute this. How do you execute this?
I actually think now that HISER is involved, a commissioner of racing or an entity that has power has one of the biggest things already checked off. I got all the states to agree because there's one federal mandate. Here are the laws. Lisa Lazarus, that HISER, let this NTA work alongside HISER, marketing, promotion, sports, work with the tracks, and then, you know, horse and integrity safety, HISER. That now that they have this in place, it's actually easier. The problem is that not only is there no vision and no leadership, the last one is key. There's no alignment. There's no alignment. So when Pat Cummings is like such a incredibly, probably the reason why Pat Cummings doesn't have a bigger job in racing is because he's too smart and his intellect is too high. So
just to clarify, Pat Cummings, who has been on my daily podcast many times, he is an administrator and a punters champion of many, many years. He's worked in the US. He then went to work in Hong Kong. He was very well respected there. He came back. He founded the Thoroughbred Idea Foundation in conjunction with Craig Bernick, Powerful Owner. And now you've kind of subsumed that into your entity, the National Thoroughbred Alliance, where he's effectively your CEO, right?
He's a CEO 100%. And we have a great balance because he's not a disruptor. He's he's high IQ. He gets the sport. He gets what gamblers are thinking. He gets what racetracks are thinking. He gets what the racing director is thinking. He gets what HISE is thinking. He knows, he gets it all. But the point is that there's never been someone that's effectively been able to put all the pieces together, because what's happening, Nick, is as I've had these high-level conversations, when you talk to the racetracks, they want racing fixed, except for maybe their track. When you talk to stallion farms, they want it all fixed, except for their farm. When you talk to the big sales companies, they want it fixed, but not the companies yet. They want everything, they want everything fixed, except why don't you go fix the 7 out of 8, not this. Pat and I break it down into 8 buckets, and listen, the bottom line is everybody's going to have to give up 10 or 20% to get this, then get 80% of what they want to get the sport to go 800%. And selfishly, because that's the only word I can use right now, is, well, I like it, but there's bigger problems. There's bigger problems. And, listen, the one big disappointment I've had, and I don't mind saying this because I am a disruptor, is you got me putting myself out there, and you got people loving it, and people that, I might need security next time I go to the track even more than I have already. And I have all these other.
Hang on. Are you flattering yourself a little bit there? I mean, about
that people love me? No, I don't
about the security. There are plenty of people who enjoy you, enjoy your output, enjoy your company, and there are people who are going to think you're, to put no finer point upon it, a bit of a self-serving ass. But
pompous, they call me. I like pompous, but I don't agree with it. But 100%.
I've got the monopoly on that. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, no. Yeah, well, it's because you have the accent. I don't have the accent. That probably puts you over the top with that. Listen, at the end of the day, when you're going to be as vocal as I am, and you're going to be as passionate as I am, people are going to sway to loving it or not. One thing is, if someone loves me, I applaud them. I appreciate it. If someone doesn't love me or hates me, I applaud them. I appreciate them. But what I found out.
Can I stop you there? Just on a point of personality, because I think a lot of people will be interested to know who Mike Repole is and what kind of informs how you operate. Is that kind of breezy, insouciant, well, I don't really care what people think of me attitude? Does money buy you that? Does success and money buy you that? Or is it that apparent self-confidence that has actually propelled you to a position of financial security? What came first?
Oh no, the attitude and the mentality came first. I mean, I just bought a sneaker company, an apparel company called Noble, and you know, I bought a majority stake. And one thing that we're going to work on with Noble sneakers is this Noble mentality. I mean, you know, Nick, what percent of people's days right now are full of bullshit?
Oh,
80%,
massive.
90%.
I mean, just check out what your computer tells you what your screen time is every week. That'll tell you. I mean, and 90% of that'll be bullshit.
So it's a combination of knowing that there's 80, 90% of bullshit out there. But the big difference is the mentality on how to deal with that bullshit, how to dismiss that bullshit. People will say, oh, I don't really care what people think about me, and say, but what did he say? And what did he mean? And how did he say it? So that means you do care. Like when I was 10, I had this personality. When I was fucking 20, I had this personality. 30. Mike from Queens doesn't go away. You know, I was playing basketball in the schoolyard with 16-year-old kids. We're all 16 years old. And I would tell kids, you know, if you foul me, hey, be careful. You're going to work for me one day. And like, look at this asshole. He's gonna, not only did he say, don't foul me, you'll work for me one day. Like, it's an edge. It's an attitude. But
So where did that come from? Is that genetic?
you know, it's funny. Listen, my dad was a waiter from France. My mom was a seamstress. I wanted all these great things. And my mom, growing up, I thought my mom was cheap. I just didn't realize we didn't have a lot of money. You know, I wanted Nike sneakers and I got Croquettes. I wanted, you know, Haagen-Dazs ice cream and I got the store brand. And I wanted rubber wheels on my skates and I got metal wheels and I squeaked all the way down as I'm playing hockey with the only guy with metal wheels. So it was that chip of being told no by my mom. Motivationally, I don't think she did it on purpose, but I wanted better and bigger. And, you know, I mean, when I was 13 years old, I wanted to own horses, you know, and it's drive. I mean, so much nowadays is mindset, man. People have lost the mindset. They're defeated before it starts and they don't attempt it. You know, one thing I would say about, you know, you're in your 40s, I'm in my 50s, is at 20 years old, everything is so public. You make a mistake, everybody knows about it. You know, so you're either afraid to make a mistake or not. What I'm noticing about this is hysterical, about my Twitter engagement. First of all, if you look at my Twitter engagement, I don't even know, but Lindsay Ravitch, who does VP of communications for all my companies, like says, Mike, you don't have a lot of followers, but your engagement is like, you know, you'll send out a tweet, you get 50,000 people engaged. I'm like, what does that mean? That means people are reading and passing it on, even though they're not following you. What do you call it? You would know better than me what that means, right?
Yeah. Listen, your engagement is far better than mine, and you've got about a tenth of the followers. Now, here's I want to drill down into this Twitter or X engagement that you've been experiencing over the last few weeks, because you're clearly getting stuck in quite deliberately, and you don't mind a confrontation. So, for example, first tweet that comes up here, Missouri Cowgirl, for it is she, says, sitting on X/Twitter, re-quoting people like me really seems like an efficient use of time for a millionaire trying, in inverted commas, to change the industry. How about you buy one of those floundering tracks and show people how it should really be done in your eyes? That would be action. I think that's quite a good question. And you've replied, correction, I'm not a millionaire. I mean, it's funny, but
Nick,
it's funny, but at that point, she's thinking, and everyone's thinking, well, hang on a minute. She's got a point. Why don't you put your money where your mouth is and buy a couple of tracks and create the leisure experience that you're espousing, rather than just coming up with a funny but quite obnoxious response?
So just so everyone knows, everyone's wondering if I'm sitting there tweeting. I don't even have my password. Okay, Danielle Bricker, who's my assistant racing manager, the poor girl deserves a lot more money now, because she has to tell me, you know, like she shows me what people say, and then I can view it, and then I'll tell her to respond, and she has to type this in. So it's kind of hysterical on how I'm doing it. But when you say that's a valid question, right? I have no idea, but I'm going to ask you, how many comments were on my response? How many likes were on my response? And how much engagement? So do you think that people really want my answer on that? Or I'm just asking you. I mean, can you tell me what it looks like?
Well, I mean, but the thing is, are you there as an entertainer, or are you trying to change the sport, or can you be both? Are you trying? What I'm asking you is this social media the series of little mini storms that you're creating at the moment, designed to burnish or enhance your profile, so that therefore you have more pull and more clout within the industry, even more than you already do by spending $14 million in the salary at Keeneland.
So, Nick, you started by saying I was a brilliant marketer. I built brands. I've got them to here. And now you're asking me a question like that? Come on. You know the answer.
So there we are.
You know, it's a combination of, hey, one tweet's going to be very valid. Another tweet's going to be entertaining. You know, one tweet's going to be, hey, what do you guys think here? And listen, I don't take myself so serious. Like, I mean, you have to know that. I mean, I'm always going to be Mike from Queens. I mean, some of the best tweets I see sometimes is, why does Mike Repole always look like he's homeless when he goes to the races? You know, because I'm just a kid from Queens, and that's what I want to be.
Oh, you're looking significantly less homeless today in your.
You know, I actually shaved yesterday, and it wasn't because I was doing this. I actually thought this was a phone call, so I actually shaved. It's kind of rare, like once a month when I shave, and you got me. You know.
There is a tweet that I want to drill into in a little bit more depth, because I think it covers off a lot of your own concerns and a lot of the key battlegrounds in the sport, and it's to do with a couple of journalists and some administrators in the sport as well. So Repole, who founded and runs and edits the Paulick Report, which for those who aren't familiar with the Paulick Report, Mike, how would you describe it dispassionately? How would you describe it?
National Enquirer Racing. I mean, TMZ.
I would say it's a highly respected investigative news organ that has had an awful lot of love and devotion.
Wait, I'm sorry, Nick. I'm sorry, Nick. I misunderstood the question. Were you asking me how I thought you would describe it, or how I would describe it?
Well, we're describing it in different ways. But
okay, no, I'm describing it my way, the way you asked me.
Here's the thing. So what is your issue with the Paulick Report, which quite often tries to highlight a lot of the ills in horse racing, presumably with the same mission that you have to make the sport better in the long term?
Yeah, listen, I think that there are very important negative stories that have to be hit head on. But a Baltimore jockey who I have no idea who he is, whether he ever won a race, who was arrested for murder in a small town in Maryland, I don't think needs to be a top 5 story. I don't even think in the local Maryland paper that story's even written. My arm is dangling, you know, like a slow ambulance, and that those are the type of stories where, like, now listen, at the end of the day, listen, if he's getting clicks on it, that's great. But we have very few real journalists who write about the sport.
But I would argue that that's real journalism. Are you advocating that we're all marketeers for an ailing sport?
Is that real journalism? Yeah, I guess you could say anything can be real journalism. What define real journalism is anything that's written, right? I mean, what would define fake journalism? I mean,
the story is true. The story is valid. The story has a clear degree of significance if you're talking about a case of homicide within the sport. I think, without wishing to put words in your mouth.
I just want to say, I think I fall in a heavy majority opinion. You might be different, Nick, which is perfect. That the Paulick Report tends to be more negative. You know, the only time I've ever had Paulick or Joe Drape reach out, never after a grade 1 win, never after great success, only when there's some sort of negativity on something. This has been 15 years in the industry. Like, that's it.
All right. So I think this is the point I wanted to get to, which is what I think is that you're concerned that journalists or organs that are a bit more investigative, a bit more hard hitting, that try and get down beneath the surface of the sport, where things, let's face it, have been pretty damn grimy over the last few years, you're concerned that their output, such as it is shorting the stock of the industry. Is that what you don't like?
No, I think that their part is the only part that we're telling the story. No one's telling the other story.
So you think there should be more? You think we're not doing well enough telling the good news?
Someone sent me a tweet. The NFL right now gets an average football game, like on Monday night lately, is bringing in 25, 30 million viewers. The Kentucky Derby gets 15 million. The NFL in a regular season game is getting 30 million viewers. Okay? If all the stories on the NFL were about assault, were about concussions, or about injuries, I mean, you talk about a sport that is, oh my God, like you talk about horses that unfortunately get injured and get put down or mistreated by drugs. I mean, think about what's happening in the NFL, right? Like, and those stories and domestic violence and drugs, like that's if that was 90% of how the sport was covered, do you think the NFL would be where they are right now?
Right. So you think it's just not proportionate to the overall. That's what you're saying.
Proportionate. It's 90-10. You know, I mean, listen, negative news has to be told. I'm the first one that wants to talk about negative news. Actually, the real negative news is leadership in racing. The real negative news is
you're the man who came on NBC, by the way, national NBC, and said, yes, there is nothing good about this sport. That's hardly cheerleading for the game, is it?
No. But Nick, I'm also the guy that came on the sport because unlike other people, I take ownership and said, and you know what, Nick?
I'm going to do something.
I am the biggest idiot in the game. I spent 16, no, don't say 14 million. You misquoted me. $16 million. So I have to be the biggest idiot. You give me any other owner, anybody in any industry that says, you know what? The sport sucks. And I'm even dumber than everyone. And I spent 16 million. I'm the guy that says, you know what? I'm done with horse racing. I'm never betting again. I'll see you for the first race tomorrow.
All right.
And that's because I'm passionate.
Let me talk about Joe Drape. Joe Drape for a long time.
I want to say one more thing about that.
Go on.
Nick, as you get older, you know, 14, 24, 34, 44, and 54. There are things that you do for your family. There are things that you do for financial success or professional success or even personal success. I can tell you right now, my stable, and I have an incredible team, and you know that, is one of the top stables. I'm going to tell you it's one, but it's a top 5 stable. You know, when I won with Uncle Mo in 2011, like, lucky guy. I got news for you. 15 years later, I got 3 two-year-old champions, okay? I don't know if anybody in the history has ever got 3, okay? I got Uncle Mo, Forte, Fierceness. You know, it doesn't happen. I don't know if there's a trainer that has, well, Todd Pletcher has 3 because of Mike Repole, but, or I have 3 because of Todd Pletcher, whichever way you want to look at it. Todd will say because of him. I will say because of me. As I said in one of my tweets, he was a mid-level trainer. I met him, and then all of a sudden his career took off, and everyone like defended Todd. It was so great. I love the way everyone was defending Todd, but I'm doing this honestly for the 20, 30-year-old people in the sport. Like, I mean, I'm friendly with, John Sikora. He's got 3 sons in this business. I'm friends with Elliot Walden. He's got, Will Walden in training. I'm friends with Bill Farish. He's got 8 children. 8 is enough for Bill. Like, they want to be in the sport. Like, I swear, like, whether Joya wants to be in racing or not, like, it's so sad that being that handicapper at 13 years old and going to the racetrack helped me become an entrepreneur. I'm risking money. I'm analyzing a racing form. I'm looking at business differently. Like it can be like, you see why I bring 50 to 75 people. It cost me $1 million to go to a race. You know, my friend, I need to come back as part of my entourage instead of me. But the point is, I watch it through their eyes and I watch the excitement. And it's like, it's so special, man. It's this beautiful family event. And I want it to be here 50 years from now when me and you are not here. I want to be one of the people that said, hey, this guy spoke up. Many people thought he was just a loudmouth asshole and he wouldn't go away. The one time that I've known you just keep it under wraps was in those last few days before the Kentucky Derby last year. And this is coming back to the Joe Drape thing, because you say the only time he calls you is when something bad happens. Forte, your horse, who was champion juvenile, is scratched at the 11th hour, as I said, because the vets weren't happy with his foot. And you were very quiet. Everyone knew there was an issue up, but you didn't mouth off at that time, and you kept your counsel. Now, several days later, Forte, it was reported that Forte had tested positive, having won the Hopeful Stakes the previous back end as a 2-year-old for a non-steroidal anti-inflammatory. And then at that point, Todd Pletcher got a ban. You had your $165,000 taken off you for the purse money.
and then there was a big storm. People will say Repole's position on that is inconsistent with the position you espoused at the beginning of this interview, was that HISA was fundamentally a good thing for the unity and progress of American horse racing. How do you square those two things?
Nick, I mean, sometimes people give me really, really, really tough questions, and then people give me like softballs. This is like the easiest answer in the world. The infraction with Forte would not be a violation or an infraction on the HISA rules today. It was a minuscule amount that falls below the level of that. It wouldn't even have been called. So think about that. I agree with HISA. Lisa Lazarus would say anything under 0.05 is contamination. It's not even called for. He was under that amount. But because there's no education, no leadership, and no explanation in racing and no PR agency, all you need to know is that, hey, Nick, if I told you under HISA, this is not a violation. It just shows you that the New York Gaming Commission...
Except HISA do use a PR agency.
Yeah, but they didn't call this because it happened pre-HISA. I need you, before you air this, to call Lisa Lazarus and just ask her a simple question. Hey, I spoke to Mike Repole. Under HISA, the amount of the drug that was found in the system, it was two vets told me. One said it was a pimple on an elephant's ass, and another vet said it was a grain of sand in the ocean. Why hasn't someone like explained that to people? So when someone, and you're a journalist, instead of you asking me the question, why haven't other people just said under HISA rules, and HISA is the god of horse and safety, this is not a violation? Nick, now that you know it's not a violation under HISA at all, what are you thinking about the Forte test now?
But it still comes back.
I'm asking. No, Nick. I asked you a question.
It's not a question about what I think of the Forte.
No.
I never expressed.
I just asked you the question.
But I never expressed.
I asked you a question, Nick.
I never expressed a view on the Forte test.
So I'm asking you to express a view now.
So I'm fully cognizant of the fact you can have microscopic amounts in tests that fall below accepted thresholds, and that will be allowed through. If they are above the accepted threshold for the state at the time when they're tested, then that is a positive test, and there is a degree of strict liability, whether you happen to like it or not, or whether there is. We see countless cases around the world.
Nick, Nick, listen. The level of testing right now. Somebody can test what you had for breakfast yesterday right now.
Mm-hmm.
So when you start testing at that level, and it's been out there. Someone at St. Elias, okay, my partner, okay, was having back surgery 2 days after the hopeful. 2 days after the hopeful. He comes the whole week with his grandkids with Forte, pets him in the winner's circle, everything. You don't know what the grooms are on. You don't know what the people are on. When it gets to that level, Nick, I'm going to ask you, do you believe in contamination at low levels?
No, I believe in contamination at low levels, yet you would also say...
So then from now on, then you know what we have to do? From now on, you cannot let anybody in the backstretch. Nobody can touch any horse. When a fan comes over to me and Todd Pletcher says, can we pet Nest over there? What should I say? No. What should I say? Because I'm the idiot that says, yeah, let me bring you over there. What should I say?
So how
when you come over and you do an interview at the barn, or somebody else does, and you come over and you start petting the horse, what should I say?
But how do you square that then with the fact that there are trainers, albeit very few of them, who scarcely ever record a positive? They scarcely ever record a positive, and they'll have had people come in, pat their horses.
Who? Tell me who.
Well,
no, name something.
How many
Jug? Name them.
How many
All
positives?
The great trainers. Keep going.
How many positives has Christophe Clement had? How many positives has Graham Motion had?
They've had him, right?
But I mean, we're talking.
You asked how many. How many has Todd Pletcher had? I will rank Todd Pletcher as way less than with the number of starts he makes versus these other trainers. Todd Pletcher probably has 0.000000. Asmussen. It's the guys that run 2,500 horses. You have to look at that. Oh, you know what, Mike, this guy's perfectly clean. He had 9 starts last year. Compare the comparisons. Look at the starts.
We are somewhat deviating from the central point of this question.
You got to name one of these incredible top. Like, listen, you have vets. Okay, a guy like Steve Asmussen, don't ask me how he does it. He's got 500 horses in training. He's got them from Indiana to Belterra, you name it. And then there are vets that go in and give this horse that and give the horse. Sometimes there's a 2 Lasix. They give him a double Lasix or something like that. Or you missed 1 day out. That is not an overage. Hey, Nick, would you say murder is a crime?
Go on.
Okay. That means yes, I think. Okay.
Yeah.
Would you say speeding is a crime?
No.
Okay. Well, some of these are just little overages, 55 going 60, that the fucking journalists and the industry make it seem like, oh my God, because they're idiots. Let's just be honest. Someone speeding 60 miles an hour doesn't need to make the New York newspaper. That's what these charges are. A level that is below HISA gets a story like it doesn't make any sense. But there's no education in this game, Nick. There's a lot of naiveness. People don't know what a picogram is. Okay? I didn't know either. Like who is educating? That's vision, leadership, alignment. So, Nick, if you got a ticket going 5 miles out of the sport and NBC Sports took you off or suspended you, you'd be like, what the fuck did I do? I went 5 miles over the speed limit. You get 14 days. Now, do I believe in fines? Do I believe in penalties? Absolutely. But there's murder and there's a drug overage is not fucking, cheating, is not doping. When Joe Drape, the dope, the dope wrote that article in May. I want you to look at that article in May that Joe Drape wrote. He used the word doping like 15 times in the article. I sent a legal letter to the New York Times and Joe Drape and politely said, you're a dope and you're an idiot. And let me give you the definition of doping versus an overage. And I said, if you guys use that again, I'm going to sue. I now need you to look at the Belmont article by Joe Drape in the New York Times and tell me how many times the Baffert and Pletcher article had the word doping. I'm going to give you the answer, 0. So you know what? The industry should have done that. Instead, Mike Repole did that. He spent $50,000 on attorneys to protect the sport.
Okay, time out on that. I want to stay on this issue a little, but just
I gotta ask you one thing. Do you think overage is doping?
Not necessarily.
So a little bit, 2 cc's, a little bit more Lasix is a little bit more Butte. That's doping.
Not necessarily. And I accept.
No, not at all.
And I accept,
not at all.
No. I accept the fact.
No, not at all.
And I've been saying this on the daily. I've been saying this on the daily. I've been saying this on the daily podcast for as long as I can remember. There needs to be a proper global conversation to educate people as to why horses occasionally require medication and at what levels that medication is acceptable. Otherwise, we're in a situation where people either think you're doping or you're completely clean.
You're testing for humans for Motrin before a basketball game. It might show up.
That's not what I'm saying. I said there needs to be a proper global conversation about why certain medications are required at certain times, so people don't believe it's either a question of you being a systemic Service Navarro style doper or you only feed hay, water and oats. Clearly, there is a whole area for discussion here.
Navarro and Service should get the electric ship. Okay, that is cheating beyond cheating. That is ripping people off like crazy. Now, by the way, you know that there are bad doctors out there, right? There are people that cheat Wall Street. There are bad people in the religion.
Who set on Navarro and Service? Who was the person that set the ball rolling to get them indicted?
I have no idea. Jockey Club?
Correct. And who's the chairman of the Jockey Club?
I forgot the guy's name. Stuart Janney?
Stuart Janney. So you agree that Service Navarro should have had serious punishments. They should be rooted out of the sport. They have been rooted out of the sport.
If the sport was being run correctly.
Stuart Janney.
If the sport was being run correctly, Navarro and Service would never been able to get away
Right.
with the shit
Yeah,
they got
hang
away
on,
with
hang
3
on, hang on,
years.
hang on. So
It was
but
mismanaged for 30 years.
you
What
could
are
only
talking about?
you could only play the ball that's in front of you. Stuart Janney set an agency on, got Service and Navarro jailed.
And he
They're
targeted
out of the
guys like
sport.
Bob
And
Baffert,
you've said,
and he
and yet
targeted guys that he wanted.
yet you said Stuart Janney is part of the problem of this game. He needs to get fired, step down, or retire. How do you
I don't think he's
figure
part of the
that?
problem. I think he is the problem. How's that sound?
Why?
Why? Because he had 13 starts. What does he know about racing? What is the Jockey Club positively? Oh, they bought it. What, did you see Stuart Janney on 60 Minutes? Tell me if Roger Goodell went on 60 Minutes and says, our sport is fucked up. Our sport is in big trouble. Our sport this, on a story that was 5 years ago. What is the purpose? Have you ever interviewed Stuart? No, I gotta ask you, Nick. On NBC, have you ever interviewed Stuart Janney?
No, but I'm hoping. I'm very much hoping.
Wait, why not? Why
I'm
not?
very much. Well,
Why? He's the commissioner. Why not?
Something. Mike. Stuart Janney, and his representatives of the Jockey Club are very keen that he should be on this show. So I'm looking forward to interviewing him.
When is he doing it next?
I'm hoping he's going to do it next month.
You know what? I look forward to it. I'd like to be on with him. Can you get us both on?
Well, I mean, that's up to if you want to be on, that's fine by me. But obviously, I have to give him the same platform first, so I'd have to interview him for an hour first, and then yeah.
I'd like to see him on this platform. Do you think you're gonna be able? What are the chances you think you'll get him on this platform?
I'd say my chances are strong.
What's wrong? Like percentage-wise, I'm good with numbers.
90%.
90% by what day? Before the
I'd say sometime before the end of February.
No, let's do end of January. You got a whole month.
Okay, so but I
got 1%. I'm going to make you a bet.
This is
1%. You get him on. You said 90%. I want to see what happens.
We've had some engaging sparring here, and I'm sure a lot of it will have entertained people. But there will be people who want to get down into the granular detail of this. Why would you be, or why would you be a better leader for the sport than, for example, Stuart Janney is?
Well, first of all, it's embarrassing that you use the word leader and Stuart Janney in the same sentence. So but you have to stop.
You've got to dial down the ad hominem attacks and dial up the detail for me.
Well, number one, Stuart Janney hasn't done anything for racing. Okay.
We just discussed what he's done for racing.
What'd he do?
He got to the heart of one of the biggest systematic doping.
How do you do with the mare cap? How'd that work out? The mare cap. You want to talk about that? How the mare cap did work out?
Go on, talk to me.
Well, he tried to get a mare cap instituted that a stallion could only breed 140, and he put his stake in the ground, and he was threatened by big stallion farms in Kentucky, and he rolled over.
So what would you have done? What would you have done? So he had what you were asking for at the beginning of this interview. He had a clear vision, and he had a way of executing that vision. Yeah. Okay, so it didn't work.
There's a stallion farm that bred a horse this year 293 times. I think that's crazy. I think that's bad for the game. I think 140 was light. I think what I would have done is maybe have the top stallion farms together in one room, which didn't happen, and try to find some happy medium where we can work together, communicate. There isn't a platform in this industry where the top leaders meet. The Jockey Club will have this once a year rah-rah, which I'm never asked to. Why would I be asked to? Because, I mean, I'm only a top owner, but that's okay. And nothing ever gets done out of that. So, like, listen, honestly, if you really think the Jockey Club is representing the sport properly over the last 30 years, you're gonna, like, it's comical. Like, it's like we're not represented. We have to do leadership.
Let me ask you this, because we're falling into your own rabbit hole of a lot of negativity here. So if you're trying to reform,
Nick, I got to be honest, because there is a lot of negativity.
Yeah,
I'm trying to work on the solution.
So because you're now having high level meetings with an awful lot of people in the game, awful lot of key, use the horrible word, stakeholders. You're going around Kentucky, California, Florida, New York, and hopefully all the other places as well.
Zooms everywhere.
Give me some indication of who you've met that you have been impressed by. I'm not saying that they're going to reinvent the wheel or they've got the silver bullet, whatever metaphor you want to use. Who have you been impressed by, genuinely?
Yeah, I mean, that's actually a very good question. Thank you. Surprisingly, I've been impressed by about 90% of them. Where I get depressed from impressed is when it comes down to the solution where A, they're not willing to move their little spoke in the wheel. And number two, that they're not willing to be vocal. If I told you the list of people at the highest level that want to text or call me directly and tell me, I love what you're doing, keep doing it, keep doing it. And then I get like crickets. Like, honestly, I'm disappointed with everybody. Everyone that's had a conversation with me, that everyone identifies the same problem. You know, I'm getting criticism on my style. I'm a results-oriented type of person. I'm not looking for style points. This isn't figure skating, okay? I'm looking for the higher score. I'm looking to win. I'm looking for people to win together. I'm not looking for style points. If you ask me, going on Twitter, did I think that was going to be my style? I've never done it before. No. Did you think about me being this vocal? No, I would have never thought it. I think that this is the only style that has a chance.
Okay.
I know people are hearing me. I know that there's a rallying cry underneath. I know people are supporting me. But here's the thing. It's so funny because I get, even on my traffic on my Twitter, people are very careful to tweet positive and very careful to like, because, hey, I work for Churchill. I can't like it because, but if Mike Repole wants to hire someone, I'm here. Hey, I work at the Jockey Club. I'll leave my job tomorrow to work for NTA, but I can't like it or tweet. Or they pass it around in these little groups of like 7 people on text exchange. Like, did you see this? Did you see that? You know, like, I know it's working. I know it's getting back to me. I know the Jockey Club knows what I'm doing. I know New York Gaming knows what I'm doing. I know Churchill knows what I'm doing. Everybody knows what I'm doing.
Okay. Have any of those entities backed you overtly, publicly, or even offered you their support?
Nobody has done that openly. What do you call it? Absolutely not. See, what I want to do is I'm going to build the NTA with Pat Cummings. You know, listen, people like, oh, you know, all I've been hearing is a lot of win. But guys, I've done more probably in 2 months just by getting the conversation going. Nick, whether you want to agree or disagree, and I think you might actually agree. There are more people talking since I've gone vocal. There's more people talking. Like, you could love me, hate me, who cares? We're talking, we're having the conversation. Whether if it's in a back room, whether it's at a dinner, or whether it's on the call or a text or a tweet, we're talking about it. You know, Boyd Browning put a letter out there. You know, listen, I'm watching some letters to the Blood Horse editor or TDN editor. People are talking. I think, listen, that's the first step in change.
But I want to get I want to get a little bit beyond the hot air, and I want to go back to something you said earlier on, which is the immediacy of horse racing, the fact you get a result, the fact that it's simple to understand in many respects. It's the first normally brown animal to beat the second brown animal past the jam stick. It's the one that wins, and you go to the window.
I had the gray horse though.
Yeah, exactly. And it you always had the gray horse. And it takes a couple of minutes, and it's perfect in, as you say, in that bite-size chunk for this generation. So why, when you were 13, did it have more resonance to your generation than it is having to this generation? How do you rationalize that? And where's the failing in the?
Well, I mean, listen, first of all, when you go back 40 years, you know, the distractions nowadays, social media, you know, I mean, listen, when you lived in New York, you got news, you know, I used to joke like, you know, 6 months before Iowa did, you know, like now everybody gets news globally in a second, you know, so the big things get out there faster, and the little things that people want to talk about can go viral very quickly. So we had a 50-year head start on sports gambling. How we screwed this up, like, it's like you're the only casino that closes down. Like, you can't do this. And, you know, people want to bet. People want, I mean, we have the same win, play, show, pick 5, pick 6. Like, dude, why not, you know, Forte versus Mage in the Florida Derby, and what are the odds, like head to head? Why not over and under wins, or more pools on who's going to win this race or that race? I mean, like, we can bring excitement to racing. More who's going to win more races at Saratoga, Chad Brown or Todd Pletcher? Chad is +3 wins, or whatever it is. Like, there's innovation in gambling through this thing right here, that you can have people gambling 24 hours a day. So where is that comes back to vision, Nick? Who is looking? Is the Jockey Club looking at the vision? We are reactive. We're not proactive. And when we're reactive, it's so late. And we don't do anything 2-3 years from now or 5 years from now. Like, listen, I'm speaking out, believe it or not. Like I don't need this. Like, Nick, if I don't own a horse in 5 years, I wouldn't be surprised. But if horse racing was not around in 10 years, I wouldn't be surprised. Horse racing, listen, do I think horse racing is going to go away 100%? No. Can I see in 10 years horse racing in Kentucky only? Yes. Yes. I could see horse racing in Kentucky. California, Mid-Atlantic, Florida. Tell me why? Have you noticed every single track in America closed? Have you seen any new tracks open? Have you seen the state of California racing and how many entries? When Bob Baffert has 5 horses in a stake race out of 5 horses, you're going to tell me that's good for racing? I'm sending, people don't notice I'm sending horses to California. I'm sending horses to Oaklawn. I'm sending horses to Brittany Russell in the Mid-Atlantic. I'm sending horses to Fairgrounds. I'm sending horses to Woodbine. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. Hopefully other owners would, not just Naira in Florida. Horses at Tampa, horses at Gulfstream. So, Naira? You're going to race at Aqueduct for 3 years? I don't know. Good luck. The way the sport's going, I don't know.
All right, five years' time. Well, you might not still be the chair of your own organization because you've only got a 4-year term. Who gets to re-elect you, by the way?
Well, listen, people are very upset. We put it out there on Twitter, and it was a beautiful vote. Listen, I'm just going to say this. I had a much fairer election being commissioner than Stuart Janney did being the Jockey Club member, being the Jockey Club, CEO. So, that's it. Listen, at the end of the day, Nick, I want to let you know, the Jockey Club needs to be knocked down and either rebuilt or disappear. Okay? And we do need a governing body in racing. And we need somebody side by side with HISA. Either somebody with the NTA being a consultant and part of an advisory. I know how to build brands. You just said it at the beginning. Okay? I'm reading tweets that Danielle sends me. Mike Repole is now my favorite follow on horse racing Twitter. Like, those are the things that, honestly, I'm actually surprised. I'm being honest with you. Like, the dislike it's Twitter. People are going to dislike it, but that people are actually engaging. And when you see the numbers, it tells you whether you like me or hate me or disagree or agree. Like, right now, we agreed on 75%. But the part that we disagreed on was as entertaining as the 75% we agreed on. And that's okay. I leave here liking you just as much as I've liked you the last 10 years. You're going to leave here liking me just as much. We're not fucking afraid to argue or disagree with each other. And we'll get off and fucking text and say that was fun. And I'll do that with you every week. I don't mind. And we can have a difference of opinions. Do you believe, obviously you have a little bit more faith in the Jockey Club than I do, which is great. But do you believe that the United States, we need a governing body in horse racing? Yes or no?
Without a shadow of a doubt. I think you'll find you will find very few people who disagree with the contention that you need a proper commissioning body.
No, I'm going to ask you that. So far, we agree.
The execution is the thing. And if you,
I got to ask you one more thing.
Hang on.
Who is the closest? I got to ask you one more thing.
Questions here. I'm asking the questions. You're the interesting one. I'm just the guy asking.
No. I can make you interesting.
You could go around like, so you talk to enough sensible people in New York, enough sensible people in some sensible people in California, Florida, whatever. And could you find representatives of each of those bodies who would basically say to you, Mike, yes, I'm prepared to give away my 20%, join a board, that would feed into a commissioner's office. Yeah, clearly there's going to be squabbling and infighting. You're going to get that if you're going to try and get all these tracks together. But at least that they agree to cooperate on fixtures, race times, issues of governance. Yeah, as you say, you've got the regulatory uniformity getting there now with HORSERACING.
It should be easier, yes.
Are people saying to you, yeah, in Kentucky at Churchill Downs, yeah, I'll run by the same governance as NYRA and First Racing or whatever?
Yeah. So it's a great question. When I first hit these people on this about 60 days to 90 days ago, it was like even people that I got along with, like it was like, no, there's a lot bigger problems. No, this is what you want to solve. And it was all that. And listen, because I've been consistent about everybody and their 20%, I've been saying, be more selfless than selfish. If you told me, Mike, let's take 10% of the purses, which includes your purses, and you've run out 9 million this year, and you have to put it back into the sport in some sort of revenue revenue sharing to help younger owners and smaller owners and younger trainers and newer trainers and younger jockeys and newer jockeys, I'm all for that. I will give 10% to help other people. I want to grow the pie from the handle to the full crop has gone from 32,000 to 18,000. I want it to be 42,000. I want to grow the handle to $50 billion, not $10 billion. So it's all about me. I'll give away 10% of my winnings. Like, listen, make it an $80,000 purse, but 10,000 goes to whether you want to do it by start. Like you pass the hat around and you help little owners, you help little trainers, you help gamblers, you help little tracks. Instead, Churchill wants to take from NYRA, and NYRA wants to take from Churchill, and Coolmore wants to take from Spindrift, and Spindrift wants to take from Coolmore. Like, it's one thing when you compete inside. I want to beat Godolphin, I want to beat Judgmont, I want to beat Clavish, I want to beat those guys every day. But when we're outside, maybe we should talk about how to make it better. And I tried to have conversations.
When you were making your way to your first billion, did you care about what your competitor was doing, or were you just trying to trample all over him?
Yeah, that's another good question. So you're on a roll now. I'm really enjoying this. There's a difference competing inside the fucking racetrack and unifying outside. The NFL owners want to beat the shit out of each other. But when they have those owner meetings with Roger Goodell and they're working on media and they're working on PR and they're working on that TV contract and they're working on the Super Bowl and the playoffs and the number of teams and who's going to work, they all shake hands. And that's why their teams have gone from being worth 100 million to 8 billion. Racing stables like Repole Stables should be valued at $1 billion one day. Churchill Downs should be worth 30 billion one day. NYRA should go private one day at $10 billion. Tampa Bay racetrack, Stella, should have a track that's worth more than the real estate. Stronach should be worth $5 billion. How can you screw this up? We are. So competition within, externally alignment. You don't have, by the way, even when I'm aligned, doesn't mean you have to like me. And I don't have to like you either. But it's okay to say, hey, I don't like that person, but I agree with him. Like, we live in a world where if you don't like somebody, even if you agree with them, you don't voice it or you go the opposite way. Like, I'm like, I might say it this way, that idiot has a good idea there. I might say it with my style that way. But at the end of the day, I mean, listen, I had a conversation for 45 minutes 2 weeks ago with Bob Baffert and Jill Baffert. It was an unbelievable conversation. Okay? I want to beat the shit out of Bob Baffert. When Fierceness beats Muth and Vito Rosa beats McKenzie on his home turf, I have the biggest smile. It's like winning a road game. You went to Mile High Stadium and the Raiders beat the Broncos. Like, that's exciting. That's a road game. And he wants to beat me too. But, listen, I don't use him as a trainer. Todd and I are partners. And he's got his team. But there's respect outside. And by the way, I don't have to agree with everything Bob says. And I don't have to give him horses. But we had a great conversation. And listen, do I think he is perfect? No. Do I think anybody in this world is perfect? No. Do I think he was a face for this game for 15, 20 years? And that, should he be running in Churchill Downs? I think it's a crime that he's not running in Churchill. He got a penalty, and maybe he deserved it. But the penalty's up. What's the penalty now? We don't like you? Get out? And for his owners, by the way, I told this, and this is his owners. And I'm going to say it right now to them. If Todd Pletcher had a suspension, and then it got off, and he was not allowed to run at the Kentucky Derby, and I had fierceness, if you think I'm going to in March, send it to another trainer so he can race in the Kentucky Derby when Todd helped create that family that I have out of that Nonomiya family. And Todd is my trainer day one. I'm going to ditch my trainer. And those owners, and I like a lot of them, that leave Bob Baffert in March to go get a shot at the Derby, that's bullshit. That's total bullshit. And I told Jill and Bob, I wouldn't be doing that to you.
Final question, Mike Repole. 5 years' time, what deems this project a success?
Mike Repole. I'm not going away. I don't lose. I'm not going away. There's going to be change. They can embrace it, or I'm going to force it. I'm going to force change. And I'm going to be an asshole all the way until it's done. And then people will realize that it took one person who didn't care what people thought, that was a powerful enough voice. And you know what? This isn't about money. I mean, this is not. This is about, when I have 21-year-old kids, that go to University of Kentucky, come up and want to talk to me, or want to talk about one of the horses, or want to get a picture with Todd Pletcher, or want to talk to Irad Ortiz, or little kids that come into the winner's circle like Dean Wayne Lucas will bring in. I'm doing this for the 13-year-old Mike Repole 40 years ago. I'm doing it. The joy that I have, first with my grandmother who passed away 3 years ago, having her at the races, to now, Joya, just like it's made her grow up. Like it's part of, like, you ask Joya, what's your favorite place on the racetrack? She says the winner's circle. Like that's attitude. Like it's part of her life, and it's part of my life. And it really has brought my family closer together. These special races are like holidays. My family's spoiled. I tell them Christmas comes every year. Mike Repole doesn't have to have a horse in the Derby every year, but they book the first Saturday in May, immediately. It'd be a shame if that family aspect went away. I wish we could unite a little bit more outside, wanting to kick someone's ass at the racetrack, inside the racetrack, on a competitive edge. You ever see, like, after a football game, 38-35, what do? They meet at midfield, and they exchange jerseys, and they shake hands, and they give each other hugs, and they wish them good luck. After a big hockey series, 7 games, you fought with 7 of them, they line up, and they shake hands. This industry doesn't do that. This industry doesn't do that. It's a shame. And you know what? It's why we're at where we're at. We don't want to unite. Let's give up 10% to double the pie. And if we're too selfish, I said selfless over selfish. And listen, come on. I've been so blessed with the horses that I've had. Fierceness. I mean, I won 2 Eclipse Awards last year, and I'm going to win 2 more Eclipse Awards this year. I mean, come on. I think I have 6 now for a lifetime. I mean, a 13-year-old kid that was betting $2 at Aqueduct Racetrack, who's competing versus the ruler of a country and a prince, probably shouldn't compete at that level. I mean, so, I'm blessed, and I know it, and I am passionate. I love it. And where else can, Sheik Mo, Mike from Queens, and Prince whatever compete on the same opportunity? It's fun.
Mike Repole, thank you very much.
Appreciate it, Nick. Thanks.